Hey guys, it's Will from revolutionarylifestyledesign.com. I wanted to come at you with this video today on cutting. Basically, this is the best way that I know of to cut weight while minimizing muscle loss. You can't cut weight without losing muscle unless you use performance enhancing drugs. So this is for natural guys who are looking to do a cut but trying to keep most of what they have. And I'm going to break it down for you into extremely simple terms. Because I say, as I've said before, the majority of bodybuilding advice out there is white noise. The way to cut fat is super simple. It's just create a caloric deficit. You create a caloric deficit by eating less or moving more, or a combination of the two. Now, cutting, if you're doing it properly, especially in the final months, is not fun. You're going to be a bit more irritated than usual, as opposed to bulking, which is quite fun because you get to eat a lot of the stuff that you want to eat. Basically, when it comes to a cut, what gets measured gets managed. So to diet effectively, you have to count your calories. You also have to find your daily caloric requirement. Basically what you do, in my article here, you plug in your stats to the calculator based on your height, weight, age, and the amount of exercise you do in a day, and that will break it down for you. So I'm 5'10", 170 pounds. I'm primarily sedentary outside of the gym and the cardio and yoga that I do. So for a sedentary guy of my weight, I'm looking at about 2,000, 2,100 calories. And I've given you the formula in the article there. It's daily caloric requirements plus 100 calories equals total caloric intake per day on your lifting days. For non-lifting days, where if you want to do cardio, it's daily caloric requirements minus the amount of cardio that you do equals total caloric intake on non-lifting days. Whether you want to do cardio on a cut is up to you. I usually will, but I don't do a ton of it because you're at a caloric deficit, so your body needs even more rest and even more recovery to stop from getting injured. And so doing really, really heavy cardio while maintaining a long-term caloric deficit is a really good way to get injured. I'm talking about, running marathons, doing, cardio for an hour and a half, stuff like that. Is a good way to get hurt. So I would advise against that. The diet I've outlined is designed to cut 1 pound per week at the minimum and 2 pounds per week on the high end. Definitely don't recommend cutting anything more than that. That's 2 pounds a week is already quite aggressive. So the way that I count calories is instead of managing every calorie, I block meals approximately. So I know that approximately, a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke or something like that is going to be like 1,100 calories. So in my head, I keep a mental note of that. And if for some day you go over, then you know that you go over by a couple hundred calories, then the next day you go under by a couple hundred calories. But even now when I'm doing a bit of a bulk, or even when I'm maintaining, it's sunk into my brain on a completely subconscious level exactly how much each meal is in calories, and I won't eat over that. It's really simple, and it's much better than using one of those calorie counting apps, which is overkill for me. As you're starting out, you'll have to look up how much is a cheeseburger, how much is chicken breast, how much is rice. But once you've been doing it for a while, you get used to it. You know how much everything is. You can approximate I can look at pretty much any meal and approximate how much calories is in that. The other thing you have to aim for is 70 to 120 grams of protein per day. I don't see any reason for anyone who's not an advanced professional bodybuilder to eat more than 120 grams per day. I've got a ton of resources on my site linking to studies that prove that. I eat maybe 100 grams a day. It really just does not matter all that much. For cardio, which is optional, you want to aim for 500 calories at the most, which is like an hour, and even that is pushing it a bit. I use hot yoga, basically the best thing that I've found, because it's also restorative. And I'll do like an hour and a half of that. Just watch yourself so that you don't get injured. You are operating on less fuel than you need, so your recovery is also going to be less. I also use intermittent fasting. I use a method designed by Martin Bergham from leangains.com. Phenomenal resource, an extremely intelligent guy. And the fasting that I do is 16-hour fasts with 8-hour feeding window. Now, basically that means that I don't eat until noon. I wake up, I drink 2 liters of water, and I take a caffeine pill, and that gives me energy all through the morning. You can also use a coffee or a tea, as long as you don't have too much milk or sugar in there. And from switching over to that, not only do I have way more energy in the morning, but I became a morning person, and I get to eat a lot more during the day. So I find it's a lot easier to get through the morning knowing that you've got a nice lunch coming up and you can eat a nice dinner than, being on a cut and eating a small breakfast, small lunch, small dinner, and always being hungry. I strongly suggest you use intermittent fasting. I've been doing it for the last 8 years, and it's phenomenal, not just on a cut, but in all aspects of my life. It's a terrific way to live. And I definitely recommend caffeine. I take it every morning. I've lived without caffeine. I've done month-long breaks, and life for me is better with caffeine, period. It's a drug. It's a drug that I'm addicted to, and it's a drug that I really like and makes my life better, so I use it. And in Canada, where I used to live, ephedrine was also legal, so I would do caffeine and ephedrine on a cut. For you guys in the US, I know that you can use ephedrine as well as some other places, but if it is legal in your country, caffeine and ephedrine together is the best fat burning supplement in the world. It not only blunts your appetite, but those two chemicals together do actually burn fat, and I notice major results whenever I use those two together. Now, for some of you guys, you might be trying to lose fat and gain muscle. As I said before, this is not possible unless you use steroids, probably combined with caffeine and ephedrine, or another, hardcore cutting drug like clenbuterol, or you're new to training. It might be possible if you're brand new to weightlifting to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time, but more likely you would just lose fat and maintain muscle. Now, an example of a cutting cycle for you that I broke down in the article would be, say, a 30-year-old male at 5'10", 180 pounds. Daily caloric maintenance at a sedentary office job is 2,200 calories. He does 2 days of weights, 3 days of cardio, and 2 days of yoga. For that formula, he would eat 2,300 calories on lifting days, 2 lifting days a week, and 1,500 on non-lifting days. So that'll give him a small surplus on weightlifting days, 100 calories, and a 700 calorie deficit on the cardio days. On cardio days, he would get 250 to 500 calorie deficit from the exercise itself. And in total, that leaves him with a total caloric deficit of 3,300 calories per week, which is approximately 1 pound. That's without cardio. With cardio at 250 calories per day, that's a total deficit of 450 calories per week, which is 1.3 pounds. With cardio at 500 calories per day, which is the maximum cardio that I would recommend, that's a total deficit of 7,000 calories per week, or 2 pounds. Now, that 1 or 2 pounds you're going to be losing, as I said, is not purely going to be fat. There's going to be muscle there. There's also going to be some water as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the effect of carbohydrates and salt. You noticed I haven't mentioned those before, and that's because carbs does not affect the amount of fat that you lose. I know that's going to make a lot of people, a lot of bodybuilders might be upset to hear that, or think it's bullshit, but I'm living proof. I eat carbs all the time. Even on cuts, I wouldn't cut carbs. The only time carb cutting is effective is if, like, you've got a pool party or something, because carbs, especially carbs combined with salt, and carbs are carbohydrates, meaning water, do store up in the body. So right now I'm on a pro-hormone cycle, a super mandro cycle, which is a legal steroid, and that's caused me to bloat a little bit. You can see I have some water weights here around the nipple. I also am eating salt, I'm eating water, or I'm eating lots of carbs. So that's probably given me about 5 pounds of water weight. And you can see here in my stomach, that basically left me with like a blurry 4-pack. If I was looking to go hard for a pool party, then I would cut the carbs, cut the salt. I wouldn't do it on a cycle, because you hold more water on a cycle because of the elevated estrogen levels. But carbs and salt, you can keep them low all year round if you want to look permanently lean, but it does not affect the amount of fat that you have. It affects the way you look 100%, but it does not affect the fat. That's really an important distinction for you guys to understand here. With that said, that's pretty much everything you need to know for the cut. Some of this might sound a bit complicated because I'm telling it to you through the video, but look at the article. It's extremely simple and broken down for you there. So you know exactly what you need to do and the exact steps you need to follow. So thanks again for watching the video, guys, and all the best.